First, let's see Coulomb's law. So, in the year 1786, the scientist Coulomb he derived an expression for a force exists between two charged particles. Now, let us consider two charged particles plus Q and plus Q. Here, distance between the two particles is R, and the force exerted by the charge Q1 on the charge Q2, it acts along Q1 to Q2, and that force is F21. Here the force F21, force experienced by the charge Q2 due to the charge Q1. Similarly, the charge Q1 also will experience a force due to the charge Q2, and this force will act along this, that is from Q2 to Q1, that is F12. Here the direction of the force, it can be represented with the help of unit vector. Here the unit vector R12 means the force F21 acts along Q1 to Q2. So R12 cap. Similarly, the force F12, it acts along R21, that is from Q2 to Q1. Okay. So he deduces an expression, the force on the charge Q2, that we can write as F21 is equal to constant K Q1 Q2 by R square, and its unit vector is R12 cap. This is a general expression for Coulomb's law. Okay. Next, we are going to see about important aspects of Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law can be defined as the force or the electrostatic force is directly proportional to product of charges Q1, Q2, and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. The electrostatic force is directly proportional to magnitude of product of two charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Instead of proportionality, we can use proportionality constant. The second aspect. In the second aspect, we are going to study the direction of the forces F21 and the F12. Here the F21, it acts along Q1 to Q2, so that the unit vector, it can be written R12 cap. Similarly, the force F12, it acts along Q2 to Q1, so that the unit vector, it can be written R21 or R12 cap minus, that is the unit vector R21, it is opposite to R12. The unit vector R21, it is opposite to the unit vector R12. Okay. First one, we stated the Coulomb's law and then the direction of the forces. Third, we are going to discuss the constant in the Coulomb's law. But K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and its value is 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter square Coulomb to the power minus 2. Similarly, we can write the value of epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of the medium, that is permitting ability of the medium, and its value is 1 by 4 pi k. The value of epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12 Coulomb square Newton to the power minus 1 meter to the power minus 2. Okay, next we are going to discuss the magnitude of the force. The magnitude of the force F vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. In this case, I am going to consider the charges at a distance of 1 meter. So the value r is equal to 1 meter, and the value of the charge that I am going to consider as a 1 coulomb. That is q1 is equal, q2 is equal to 1 coulomb. Then what is the remaining? Because the q1, q2 will become 1, r square also will become 1. The remaining value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. We know the value of the 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. That is the magnitude of the force is equal to 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. It means the charges are said to be 1 coulomb if the distance between the two charges 1 meter and placed in vacuum or free space. Then the force exists between the two charging particles is 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. So what is 1 coulomb? Where 1 coulomb is the force exists between the two charging particles. That is if magnitude of the F vector is equal 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. And this value is a very large value. In our day-to-day life, we use only microcoulomb, where microcoulomb is 10 power minus 6 coulomb, or nanocoulomb. Nanocoulomb is 10 power minus 9 coulomb. And this value is very, very large. So 1 coulomb of charge is a very, very large value of charge. Okay. Next we are going to write Coulomb force in medium. In medium, force can be written 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 by r square. Here instead of epsilon naught I have used epsilon, where epsilon is the permittivity of the medium. Epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space or vacuum. But here the epsilon is permittivity of the medium on which the charge plays. Okay. Here we can write another one quantity, that is epsilon r, where epsilon r is the relative permittivity. So when you divide these two equations, you will get here the k value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So you get epsilon by epsilon naught, where epsilon is the permittivity of the medium, epsilon naught is the permittivity of the free space, and epsilon r is the relative permittivity. It relates to permittivity, that is permittivity of the medium and permittivity of free space. That's why we call it as permittivity, relative permittivity. And this value, suppose the epsilon, the medium is air medium, then epsilon equal to epsilon naught, so that the ratio will become 1. So you can write epsilon r equal to 1 for air medium, and for medium you can write the expression like this: epsilon equal to epsilon naught and epsilon r. So Coulomb force depends the nature of the medium. Next, there are some similarities between Coulomb force and the Newton's law of gravitation. The Coulomb force, we know the general structure of Coulomb force, F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. Then the gravitational force, F is equal to G M1 M2 by R square. Here also the value 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is nothing but constant K. Okay. It has both the equation has the same structure. See here, in Coulomb force and gravitational force, both the equation we are using constant. Here the force is directly proportional to product of the charges. Here the force is directly proportional to product of the masses. In Coulomb force, the force is inversely proportional to square of the distance. In gravitational force, the force is inversely proportional to square of the distance. These are the similarities between Coulomb force and gravitational force. Even though they appear like a similar equation, but there are so many differences. Let's see what's the difference between these two. The value of the constant is not same. The value of K is equal to 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. Here the value of G is 6.626 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square kilogram to the power minus 2. This value is a very small value. Gravitational constant value is very small. Here the constant in the Coulomb force is very large value. So that Coulomb force is the strongest force compared to gravitational force, because the constant in the Coulomb force, it has a very large value. Okay. This is the one difference. The Coulomb force, it's not only an attractive force, there also exists a repulsive force. For example, if you consider plus Q and minus Q, there exists attractional force. If you consider plus Q and plus Q, there exists repulsive force. So in this case, there are two different forces exist, but gravitational force, it's a only attractional force. So there is no any repulsion force. There are two differences. One is Coulomb force, it has two different forces. Gravitational force is only attractional force. The constant in the Coulomb equation is very large value. It has large value. The constant in the gravitational force, it has very small value. And then the gravitational force, it is independent of medium. Let us consider two masses, 1 kg and 1 kg. When you place these two masses in air medium, or when you place these two masses in liquid medium, the force exists between the two masses. The gravitational force exists between these two masses are same. So gravitational force, it is independent of the medium. But electrostatic force, it depends the nature of the medium. So we know the value constant where K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of the medium. So depending upon the medium, the force, electrostatic force will change. Gravitational force, it is independent of motion of the object. It is considered Earth and Sun. The Earth revolves around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. Here the objects are moving. So the gravitational force is independent of the motion of the objects. But in the case of Coulomb force, if the charged particle moves, then there is another force come into play along with the Coulomb force. is called Lorentz force. If the charge moves, there is another force comes to play. So that force is called Lorentz force. So it is depends the motion of the charged particles. But gravitational force, it is independent of the motion of the objects. Let us consider the force on the charge Q2 or the force on the charge Q1 F12 due to the charge Q2. The force on the charge Q1 is F12 due to the charge Q2. It can be written 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. Okay, the force, it acts along the direction Q2 to Q1. So that the unit vector is R21 from Q2 to Q1. Okay, we know that the unit vector R21 is opposite to the unit vector R12. Yes, the R21 unit vector, it is opposite to the unit vector R12. So instead of R21, we can write minus R12. So F12 equal 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. So instead of R21 cap, I am going to use minus R12 cap. Here I am going to put the minus sign in the front, R12 cap. So here the equation 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. Here we have written the force on the charge Q1. Similarly, we can write the force on the charge Q2. F21 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. The unit vector is R12 cap. See here, this equation and this equation are same. It means the 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square into R12 cap. It is nothing but F21. So except the minus sign, the remaining terms are equal to F21. So that we can write F12 equal minus of F21. It means Coulomb's law, it obeys Newton's third law. Coulomb's law, it's only valid for a point charges. What is a point charges? So in 11th standard, in the 6th lesson, we have studied about the point masses. That is the distance between Earth and Sun. Here the mass of Sun and the Earth are considered as a point mass because the size of the object, it is very less compared to the distance between Earth and the Sun. So if the distance is very large, then we can consider the mass as a point mass. Similarly, here also we can consider the charge on the object. If the size of the object is very small, then we can consider that object as a point charge. So Coulomb's law is valid only for point charges. So Coulomb's, he discovered his Coulomb's law by considering the object as a point charges. That you also can see it in the screen.